The Edmonton Oilers make a huge move that could change everything depth-wise for the organization as the Oilers unfortunately lose to the Calgary Flames last night. I mean, there was the highs and there was the lows, and we will cover that for you today here on the channel. Hope everybody enjoyed the game last night, or at least tried to anyways. I mean, Oilers hockey is back, and unfortunately, the Oilers being the Edmonton Oilers, doing what they do best and, finding the weirdest ways to lose. But if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, folks, make sure you do so. 71% of you haven't hit that button down below. If you love the Oilers, if you're loving these videos, make sure you hit that button if you haven't done so already. But let's get right into it, folks, with the Oilers dropping their season and home opener by a score of 4-3 in the shootout. To the dreaded Calgary Flames. Just taking a look at the scoring summary. The Oilers jumping out to a 3-0 lead off the stick of Nugent-Hopkins on the power play. The Oilers not as automatic as it was in years prior, but still the power play still kicking. And Andrew Mangiapane getting his first goal as an Oiler against a former team of his there. And then Leon Draisaitl with his 400th NHL goal with a very pretty pass by David Tomasek there, who I thought had a very strong game, making it 3-0. And, you thought the Oilers were going to cruise, but Matt Gradin off a weird deflection there, making it 3-1 Oilers. And then Connor McDavid, which, was a high stick there. There were several replay angles that showed that he did bat the puck above the crossbar there, but Toronto, the situation room in Toronto thought otherwise there. And, yeah, Blake Coleman off of a Stuart Skinner gaff. They're making it 3-3. There was no scoring in the overtime period there, but Nazem Kadri did get the shootout winner in the 8th round for the Calgary Flames there. I mean, yeah, the Blake Coleman goal. I mean, Stuart Skinner. I saw a lot of people blaming Evan Bouchard for this one, but you don't want to get too close to your goalie. Too many cooks in the kitchen. You know what happens to a meal after that. So he's letting Stu do his thing, but even Stu didn't even know what he was trying to do there, and that led to Blake Coleman just pretty much putting it in for birdie. I could go on and on about Stuart Skinner last night, but I've gone on and on about it all summer long and last season there, so I will let Stuart Skinner's results speak for himself there. But he realizes, that one was on him. I just had to make a quicker decision. It was a miscommunication. I was slow to react to Coleman behind Bouch, and it's a goal. If that doesn't go in, we win the game. 2 points. It's one bad decision, and it makes you look really bad off the heels of an .864 save percentage for Stuart Skinner last night. But who am I to go on and about goaltending criticism? Shots on goal 35-22 in favor of the Oilers last night. I mean, there were a few goals that, Dustin Wolf could have had back, like the Mangiapane goal. But other than that, I mean, steady goaltending for the Flames. Had a few key saves in overtime there. The Oilers going 2-for-4 on their power plays. Meanwhile, the Oilers penalty kill, it's improved. Only allowing one power play goal last night, but again, that was the Connor McDavid goal, which obviously, in my opinion, my non-biased opinion, should not have counted there. So the Oilers, the offensive explosion is certainly still there. They are just very, very prone to, letting the foot off the gas there, and that's what led the Calgary Flames to get back in this game. Nugent-Hopkins, the ageless wonder, getting the first star of the game there, 3 points on the night, including the power play goal. And Leon Draisaitl with the third star with the goal in the assist there. But Nugent-Hopkins, seeing what led to the Oilers' downfall last night, saying we just kind of got sloppy with it, turned the puck over too much, and that gave them life, especially, the neutral zone turnovers sort of killed the Oilers in the second period. They capitalized on one, and then obviously the power play, they started to get the momentum there. It started with 10 minutes of just being sloppy and turning the puck over. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is. Teams are going to have their pushes, and we got to manage it better. Tonight, we left them off the hook a little bit. We sat back and didn't play the way that we wanted to for those last 10 minutes in the second period, and they took advantage there. I mean, there were numerous times where the Oilers all over the Flames, and then just, again, took their foot off of the gas. Just taking a look at the hockey stat chart here. I mean, I highlighted, the blue there from McDavid to Mangiapane. I thought, there were numerous superstars last night for the Oilers, except for Trent Frederic. I mean, he's trying his hardest, but, you just have to get him off that top line there. He just kind of looked too slow to react to McDavid in Draisaitl. As much as I want that to work, with the 8-year deal, you kind of have to plug him in somewhere where he will work. Frederic, you just have to get him off that top line and get him up to speed with another centerman in winger duo. That's not the two best players in the National Hockey League there. Matthias Ekholm, I thought, played fantastic last night, along with Evan Bouchard. For those of you that were worried about Ekholm's injury leading back to the Stanley Cup playoffs there, I think the Viking is back to 100%. And Bouchard, again, a lot of criticism. Doesn't matter what he does, he will always have his detractors there. Tomasic, I thought it was fantastic. I took two dumb penalties there, two stick infractions, but other than that, all over the ice last night there, he looked like he belonged there. And I can tell when somebody, feels like they're, a little bit too hesitant on the ice. But I mean, 29 years old, David Tomasic, the one and only chance after this year, getting a big NHL contract there. And he looks like he belonged to Mangiapane, even if he didn't score the goal all over the ice last night. Adam Henrique was there on the ice, not really doing a whole lot. I mean, he stuck up for Ike Howard in a scrum. That's about it. Speaking of Ike Howard, fantastic last night. There were a few times in the third period where I thought he would have had, one or two goals, but sometimes the nerves just get you there. And then the bottom four D pairings there could have been a little bit better. I mean, Kulak in Emberson, I mean, they were steady, they were solid, didn't really do a whole lot there. And then the Nurse Regula pairing there, didn't think Regula had that bad of a night last night. I mean, if anything, he was handcuffed multiple times by Darnell Nurse, especially on the first Flames goal there by Gridin, where, Regula was, in no man's land there. He's trying to prevent the Flames attack, but still, I thought Nurse would have been, much better coming into this game after, a fantastic preseason showing. But sometimes players look really good in the preseason, and then they just turn into a whole pile of nothing as the regular season starts there. But, there weren't a whole lot of awful games last night, but Darnell Nurse obviously was not a very good game by the Oilers last night, but, lots of steady play, and I think they will continue to improve that. It's only the first game of 82. I'm not expecting, uh, the full fireworks here. I'm not expecting everyone to be firing on all cylinders there, but you would expect the main guys to step up, and that's what they did with McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent-Hopkins, Bouchard, on and on there. It's just sometimes your goaltending doesn't quite help you in the times that you need. And for the big news. Yeah, huge news. I mean, during the first intermission, Elliot Friedman was going on. The Oilers have re-engaged with Jack Roslovic, and then 3 minutes later, he updates that with he is going to be signing there. So the Oilers, with the biggest fish left in the free agent pond there, Jack Roslovic is now an Edmonton Oiler there in the Oilers Twitter account. We interrupt game coverage for a moment to let you know that the Oilers have agreed to terms for Jack Roslovic on a one-year contract with an AAV of $1.5 million, which is an absolute steal. I know his original projection was like 2 years at $4 million, but I mean, the guy is a consistent 5-on-5 goal scorer there, so that's an absolute steal there. Stan Bowman cooking once again there last year with the Carolina Hurricanes, 22 goals. I mean, I think he did lead the Hurricanes with 5-on-5 points last year, and I mean, the Hurricanes, they're a pretty stacked team to begin with, and Roslovic to be that one. Fantastic news there, and I think he will certainly help the Oilers on their bottom six. And after signing Roslovic for $1.5 million, the Oilers now have $326,000 of cap space remaining in LTIR with 23 active plus Roslovic plus Yamark. And to activate Hyman, assuming that everyone is healthy after he comes off of LTIR, they would need to clear $2.8 million of the annual cap hit there. So that could be something like, waiving Yamark, Lazard, a whole bunch of the extra forwards there. Maybe even try to persuade Rico to Adam Henrique to waive his no move clause there. But the Oilers will certainly have to make that work there. And Stan Bowman, loving the type of player that Roslovic is. We've been in touch with him the whole time, and I said the same thing to him then that I did the other day when this picked back up, which was we love the player, but we don't have a lot of money to spend right now. So if he wants to come here and kind of bet on himself and get a chance to play, we would love to have him. And I think he obviously was weighing his options and came to the decision that this was the place he wanted to be. Of course, he fired his agent after not getting the world that was promised to him on July 1st. The type of player we would be looking for around the trade deadline would be this type of player, consistent 5-on-5 guy. Exactly. He's available now, and he's a free agent. You can get him signed at a low amount. There's a lot of things that really worked in our favor there, and I think he would really work tremendously well, somewhere in the bottom six. But we will have to wait and see what, the bottom six could look like once everyone is fully healthy there. Who comes in, who comes out. I mean, there would be a lot of guys that have played very well that I originally thought would be coming out. But again, that's for Kris Knoblauch to decide there in the Oilers. Next game, not until Saturday there against another Pacific Division rival, the Vancouver Canucks. So we still have today and tomorrow to wait until Saturday night, the second game of the Hockey Night in Canada double header against the Canucks. But that is it for today's video, folks. Let me know, two things: what you thought about the game last night, and what do you think about the Jack Roslovic signing? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Would you rather, somebody else? Let me know down in the comments, folks. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for any and all Oiler news. Take care. Have a great rest of your Thursday. I'm Matt.